What is digital water? Let's start with the big question, huh? and then we will zoom in. So let's start with what do we understand with digital water? Well, there's something is happening. Something is in the water. When you look at this curve, for example, this is the use of the phrase digital twin as function of time in literature, okay? You can do these queries on Google Ngram. It's very fun. It's really fun activity to do. So what I did is we searched for digital twin as function of time, and then you see this. Well, you see kind of an exponential curve, and actually this is only until 2022. If you would add the next 3 years until today, probably it's almost a vertical curve. Really, this is something that's happening. It is partially a hype, but partially, of course, there is also a lot of value in it. And with this webinar, we want to address the value. So something is happening. You can do these questions for different terminologies, but everything related to digital, including artificial intelligence, of course, has these kind of curves. But what makes it different this time? Because plant control, sensors, digital, like converting analog signals to digital is not at all new, right? So what do we understand under digitalization today? What is the difference? Well, we try to illustrate that a little bit with this slide. You have a treatment plant. A treatment plant is the focus of this presentation. And you have sensors or measurements or data. Well, you send those signals to a computer system, which is your SCADA, your PLC. You do your monitoring and your control, and you take an action. And mostly these measurements are directly related to the variable you want to control. I will give one example. You want to control dissolved oxygen. You will measure dissolved oxygen, and you will directly control the blowers, which affect the dissolved oxygen. Same for pH. You want to affect your pH. You do some acid-based dosing based on the pH. So what is different this time? Well, we are adding something that we call a digital brain. A digital brain, it can be artificial intelligence. It can be a mixture of mechanistic models with a lot of other models. The thing is, it's something that is more sophisticated, let's say, compared to the more simple control rules that we are going to use. So in terms of functionalities, we are really doing something else. For example, you will measure some variables that are completely transformed in something else. Yeah, so that is really a very big difference. So two core differences we have observed is you are going to predict variables you cannot measure based on what you can measure. That's quite a difference. Of course, there are certain aspects of that already implemented, but the scale at which this will be happening is very different. And second, we go beyond the operations. We go beyond the operations, and we will try to convey this message throughout the webinar. So digital water does not equal advanced process control. It is way more. And one of those differences is exactly this. So we are going to talk about other completely new functionalities at the utility side. All right, let's start with a poll. Will have a couple of polls here. And how mature is your company's digitalization strategy for when it comes to water treatment, wastewater treatment? So you're still exploring. You have started implementing a couple of digital tools that are very new or different. You have defined a digital strategy, yeah? Or you are really in an advanced stage where you have literally operational digital twins. You are really quite far. The results will be brought live to you. So votes are coming in. 44% of you have participated, almost 50%. Let's say if we can go to 60%. All right, I will end the poll right now, and here are the results. I will share them now. You should be seeing them on the screen. So most of you are exploring the topic, which makes a lot of sense. That we are very happy with that. Not that you all are exploring, but that we have tailored the webinar to you. And let's say another 40% of you have started implementing some digital tools that are quite new. You can see the more advanced stages are little, and we expect that because it's really emerging, let's say. So thank you for sharing your opinion. No? All right, interesting to know. So why now? Okay, let's see. So some things are going to change compared to conventional things we were doing. All right, if they are going to change, why now? What exactly makes it a very interesting moment in time? Well, let's look at the challenges. When you start talking about new technologies, it's always interesting to look at the problems they can solve and not work reverse simply because something is cool. It's not because digital twin sounds cool that we all have to implement it. Let's look at the value they can bring in terms of solving big challenges. Well, this is the water system, and we have climate challenges. Water is one of those industries that is most affected by climate change. And we are talking about climate change mitigation. This means lowering our emissions, but also adaptation. This means adapting our infrastructure to the changes. These two are very important. These two are very different. And digital twin applications are also very different in those areas. We want to design infrastructure future-proof. We have a huge scarcity of workforce. It's really happening in different continents, Europe, US, other parts of the world. It's difficult to find water professionals, and a lot of experienced people are about to retire. That's another driver. More complex decisions, and these decisions have to maybe be made faster than ever. That's also something that is quickly changing. That means it would be handy if we have a couple of new tools that help us. In the drinking water industry or fields, we have to find some alternative water sources. We are going to reuse. We also want to produce processed water fit for purpose. These are important concepts. And when we talk about wastewater or used water, we really have these contaminants of emerging concerns, either regulatory driven or reuse driven, and we have more stringent affluent requirements. I didn't see a lot of examples of these requirements becoming less stringent. So this is really changing, and we have to do all of these things within the existing infrastructure mostly, at least in Europe and US, for example. Well, these are the challenges I just explained, and now we are going to the business case. The business case is happening when you bring together challenges on one hand with technology or solutions that can solve those challenges on the other hand. So these are the challenges I just discussed. I will not go over them again. But on the other hand, you have emerging technology. We have artificial intelligence emerging. We have computing power that is unprecedented. We have a lot of proven mechanistic models. They have been used for decades, and they are ready to play a different role. We have soft sensors or new sensors. We have cybersecurity that is really maturing, and a market on itself. Because many of you in this webinar today are also players in that market, and we are all learning together, and it's a rapidly evolving landscape. And the point is, we will all need each other. It's a multidisciplinary issue we want to tackle, digitalization. If you couple these two, this gives us 5 very interesting business case domains. And we just want to put them on one slide because typically we neglect some of them. We don't have a good view on the challenges, we miss out on the technology, and certainly what we do is we miss the complete overview of the business case. In the end, that's most important. So we are talking about smart and proactive operation. This is really a digital twin area, making plants smart to save energy, chemicals, to improve the water quality. This is really the area where everybody typically focuses on when we talk about digital. But this is just one of those 5 areas. Fast and efficient training, so faster training of people, very important when you look at the people bottleneck. Preparing for change, this means looking into the future. You can see the crystal ball symbol here. This is literally a digital twin or a model as a crystal ball to run long-term simulations. When we talk about the more short-term operational decisions, we have the item of informed and fast decision making, making decisions better and faster. And then we also have a human dimension, which is very important, which is documentation and communication. Don't underestimate the combination of these five because they really shape the whole business case of digital. And we need this because it is always an effort to have some change, and we need motivation to do that. We are getting motivated if we see the value it can bring.